I'm Jeff Matlow. Welcome to the best leadership podcast ever. Welcome back to the pod. It is so great to have you here. I love this time we have together. I really do. It warms my heart, all parts of my heart, not just one ventricle. It actually warms all of the ventricles. I am total ventricle. You know what? I'm not even going to try anymore. Let me just jump into it because it's August when I'm recording this, and my client Marcus just texted me from a beach in Croatia. I've always wanted to go to Croatia. He sent me a photo, and now I really want to go. It looks beautiful. And Marcus has been radio silent on me for 3 weeks. I haven't heard a peep from the guy. And by the way, I'm his leadership coach. That probably doesn't really matter to this story. But I sent him an email earlier this week, and all I got in return was an auto reply message that said, back in mid-August. Now, Marcus is the CEO of a tech company in Amsterdam. He's got 200 employees, and they're killing it. In fact, his company revenue this year is on track to grow 35%. And his EBITDA is going to grow 40%. Meanwhile, he's spending an entire month incommunicado hanging out in one of the most beautiful postcard-perfect places in the world with his family, while I'm sitting here alone with a microphone in front of my face, stress-eating protein bars, because I haven't stopped jumping from call to call since 7 a.m. this morning, and I really need to record this podcast before the day is over. Something's definitely wrong, and I think it's wrong with me. My friend Tobin, who has a company, Shift Story, and a newsletter that you really should read, he always gets me thinking. In the most recent issue of Shift Story, he said this: in America, we've confused motion with progress so thoroughly that we've forgotten they're different things. I've read that quote about 20 times so far. Actually, consider it 21 now. The message hits me so hard. We've confused motion with progress so much that we forgot motion and progress are different things. You see, I've been stressed lately, like really stressed. There's a huge proverbial pile of things on my to-do list. When I look at it, I get hives. Deadlines actually haunt me in my sleep, and I'm scared now that there isn't enough time in my life to get them all done, much less time in this week or this month. I've been jolted awake at 3 a.m. in the morning while I'm sleeping lately, kind of like if a defibrillator was attached to my dreams. The moment I relax, boom, I'm shocked to life. And not in a good way. We're an F1 family here. And sometimes I feel like I'm driving a car full speed, careening around turns at the slightest edge of chaos in a desperate attempt to cross the finish line before I crash into a fiery wreck on the sidelines of life. Is that too much? Maybe that's too much, but that's how I feel. And there's actually a truth that I really should admit to myself, so I might as well admit it to you in the same time. I love chaos. I love the chaos of overcommitment. I am most productive when I'm most overwhelmed. You know that saying, if you want something done, give it to somebody who's busy? That's me. The busier I am, the more productive I am. And maybe I'm just a product of the manic expectations of our kind of manic society. In our society, intensity is seen as the secret to success. But whenever I dip my toe in the proverbial pool of serenity, that sounded good. The proverbial pool of serenity. Let's remember that one. Anyway, whenever I do that, I realize that my life is kind of a hypocrisy or a dichotomy. I don't know which one it is, but I'm pretty sure that my secret to success is to live the rest of my days rocking on a porch in some remote lakeside cabin. Give me books to read, a computer to write with, and an endless supply of trails to run on, and that's kind of all I need. And that's why Tobin's words struck such a tone with me. In my executive coaching practice, I work with high-functioning leaders who like to move fast. Their lives are overbooked. In fact, their pride is inversely proportional to the number of hours they sleep on any given night. The less hours, the more pride. Busy is their status symbol. I feel like they should have pins on their shirt that says, "I'm too busy, give me more." Now, I truly, truly love working with them. They're awesome people. And I love what I do to help bring out the better leader in these amazing people. And that's why I feel stuck. Because I'm drawn into the life of being constantly on the go, but I also want to do the same thing, but I want to do it slower. And that leads me to my main question. Can we achieve the same level of success we want, but do it by moving slower? Like much slower, like rocking chair on the porch type of slower. As I said before, I coach and consult a bunch of leaders at European companies. Some of them are based in countries that have right to disconnect laws. That means work-related conversations have a legal start and end time. Even if you have a game-changing epiphany in the middle of the night that you absolutely positively need to share with your team, you still have to wait until official work hours. It's the law. One of my clients, who's the COO of a company based in Portugal, told me that they close the office at 4 p.m. every Friday. Not just during the summer, they do it throughout the entire year. I asked her why, and this is what she told me. Because tired people make expensive mistakes. Now that makes sense, but also makes me nervous. How can they grow if nobody's working? But as it turns out, they figured it out. Her company has insanely high revenue retention, and you may want to sit down for this one. They average $2 million in revenue per employee. $2 million. That's insane. To put it in perspective, the average revenue per employee in the US is like $200K. From that perspective, they're kind of like 10 times more successful than the average US company, and they do it in less hours. Oh, and in August, most companies in the entire European continent pretty much shut down. They're kicking our ass, and they're doing it in fewer hours over fewer months with presumably less stress. Which brings us right back to my client in Croatia, Marcus. Marcus is probably gallivanting across some Croatian beach right now as if he has no cares in the world. And the thing is, he probably doesn't. But here in America, if you take even a 2-week vacation, you're going to start getting these leering looks and questions about your commitment to the company culture. So tell me, are the Europeans moving slowly because they're European, or are they moving slowly because they figured out how to succeed at that pace? You would think that there's less stress when you move slowly. I thought that, but then I found out that that's wrong. According to the cognitive load theory, which was created in 1988 or discovered in 1988 or whatever you do with the theory, it's the mental effort of the work that causes the stress. So you don't reduce the stress by moving slower because that cognitive load, that mental effort doesn't go away. But by going slower, you have more time to work through the stress and can make better choices. Going faster isn't always the answer to stress. Usually, it's just the opposite. In fact, in 1908, these dudes, Yerkes and Dodson, came up with what is appropriately named the Yerkes-Dodson law. And they discovered that stress actually increases performance, but only up to a point. See, too much stress eventually leads to a decline in performance. In other words, slowing down doesn't reduce stress, but it allows you to keep your stress levels in an optimal range so that you can increase your chances of success by maintaining a high level of performance. As my client in Portugal said, the stress of speed increases the chance of making expensive mistakes. Faster isn't always better. Speed without focus is just time-wasting chaos. The faster you move, the less time you have to make good decisions. Or at least the less time you have to make thoughtful decisions. But what I've realized recently is that slow isn't the opposite of successful, as long as we understand that slow is different than idle. Idle is not moving. Slow is still moving. What slow means is that you think before you react, or you proactively build instead of reactively fix. You choose instead of accept, and you guide your team instead of constantly putting out fires. In our culture here in the US, in the workplace culture, I don't have time to think is actually a badge of honor. The Europeans I work with, though, they build a culture where I don't have time not to think is the secret to success. The secret to going slow isn't just about adjusting your to-do list. The secret is to adjust your relationship with urgency. Here are a few ways how. First, clean your calendar. If every hour is booked with a meeting, you're not busy, you're just not valuing your time. You're probably not choosing what's important and what isn't, and you need to change that. Secondly, protect thinking time. If you're not protecting your calendar, then you're definitely not protecting your slow time. So you need to schedule and protect very specific time to think about growth and strategy. Number 3, question the urgency. Honestly, when something's on fire, it usually burns itself out if you don't panic. In fact, that email that just raised your blood pressure and you think you have to respond to immediately, it's probably not going to matter in another hour. Or at least it's not going to be as important. 4, measure yourself differently. Instead of asking yourself, how much did I do today? Ask yourself, how well did I think today? And finally, take real breaks. I don't mean phone breaks. Put the phone away. I mean, start taking breaks where you are unreachable and proud of it. Success isn't how fast you move, it's how intentionally you move. That's important to remember. And here's the irony. The people who move slowly get there faster. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Not only do they get there faster, they enjoy their journey a lot more. So here's the challenge I give to you. Protect 1 hour this week, just 1 hour. Put it in your calendar right now. No emails, no interruptions, no technology. Just you, your thoughts, and the belief that moving slowly might be the fastest way forward in your life. Marcus gets back from Croatia in a few days. I bet he's going to be ready to tackle the rest of the year in a ferociously slow way. And honestly, I'm trying my best not to be stressed about it. Thank you for listening. If you like this, head over to thebestleadershipnewsletter.com. You'll love it there. Links are in the comments. Can't wait to talk to you next week. Have a great one. Bye.